can we consider grandparents who allow children to do things that may lead to heart corruption as enemies? That was stated in the end in one of the ayat of the Quran. What would be your advice on dealing with such things? Now, as the ayah, إنما يا الذين آمنوا إن من أزواجكم وأولادكم عدوا لكم فاحذروهم. We will believe from your wives and your offsprings are enemies to you, so فاحذروهم, be warned against them. And then the ayah says وإن تعفوا وتصفحوا وتغفروا فإن الله غفور رحيم. So, and if you pardon, if you forgive, if you let go, then overlook, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most forgiving. And what that ayah means, that some of the closest ones to you are enemies to you, meaning because they will be the reason for you to enter the hellfire. Because they don't do that intentionally, that they hate you, that because of the love that you have towards them, and guidance is in the hands of Allah. So a wife or a husband or a child will be the reason for the person to disobey Allah. So this is what is meant. And what to do then with this situation, as also the munasabah of the ayah, when some of the wives of some of the Sahaba, they were in Mecca and they prevented them from making hijrah with the Prophet ﷺ. How can we leave this like that? So when they came later to Al-Madinah and they saw that those who migrated before them, they excelled in virtue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned them even in the Quran, Sabiqun, foremost, and they've surpassed them in knowledge and all kinds of things. So they went back on their wives and they wanted to revenge for them. Why did you do that to us? So the ayah was revealed. So yes, but then how to deal with them? Forgive, pardon, overlook. But means do what is right, do what is according to the deen of Allah. And if they get angry with you, what do? Forgive, pardon, overlook. But you establish still what is right. Do not allow the most beloved ones to you to make you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be firm upon the deen, but at the same time, the way you treat them, you don't become evil towards them, but rather to forgive and to pardon and to overlook while being firm upon the deen. This is the proper understanding of the ayah. And this is what is meant by the enemies. So if the grandparents are causing the children to do haram things and so on, you do not allow this whatsoever. There's no such a thing as I'm going to make them sad and upset. It doesn't matter. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade something and you know that this is going to be loose, if with the grandparents, it is not permissible for you, you're committing a sin, you're allowing them to be your enemies, and you're doing uquq to them, you're not being loyal to them, because you make them commit sins, and you make them basically take the means to the hellfire. So the way to do it, and this is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no compromisation to this whatsoever, be very firm, very clear, but then you have to be extremely kind and extremely nice. Because just the fact, as we mentioned that before, if a parent or a grandparent or whatever, if they're angry with you, you don't look at why they're angry with you. If they're angry with you, even because you're the righteous, because you're making salah, they're angry with you. For you, the way that you see it, that you have a major problem here, that they're angry with you. So how can I change this to something else? You don't look at your action. You don't say they're angry with me because I'm obedient the commands of Allah. Let them be angry. I don't care. As long as I'm obedient to Allah. This is a wrong way to deal with it. But rather, you're firm upon the obedience of Allah. And then what you need to do to make them pleased. And never a son or a daughter should ever blame their parents in a sentence saying as if they are talking bad about their parents. Because there's no one has more favors upon a person more than his parents. So never say they're doing this evil to me. This is very bad for a person to say that. But rather to be extremely kind to them with halal ways. Then you figure that out as a son or a daughter, so that that overcome the upsetness or the sadness or so. And if it's not, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful. So this is wallahu a'lam that needs to be done and need to be firm upon this. And this is how things changes with kindness and goodness. Some of the brothers, for example, the sisters, they might be easy for them to be firm upon the deen, and they make their parents upset with them. And they think that there's nothing, we did anything wrong. No, you did wrong by making them upset. But it's the obedience of Allah. Then do something to make them happy. With halal way, by being still firm upon the deen of Allah. Go kiss their hands, their foot, their head. Do favors for them. Do whatever you can to make them pleased with you, and if they're not, after you do everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful.